This podcast is sponsored by Talkspace. You know when you're really stressed or not feeling so great about your life or about yourself? Talking to someone who understands can really help. But who is that person? How do you find them? Where do you even start? Talkspace. Talkspace makes it easy to get the support you need. With Talkspace, you can go online, answer a few questions about your preferences, and be matched with a therapist. And because you'll meet your therapist online, you don't have to take time off work or arrange childcare. You'll meet on your schedule, wherever you feel most at ease. If you're depressed, stressed, struggling with a relationship, or if you want some counseling for you and your partner, or just need a little extra one-on-one support, Talkspace is here for you. Plus, Talkspace works with most major insurers, and most insured members have a $0 copay. No insurance? No problem. Now get $80 off of your first month with promo code SPACE80 when you go to Talkspace.com. Match with a licensed therapist today at Talkspace.com. Save $80 with code SPACE80 at Talkspace.com.
You're in a good place now. Relax, breathe, smile. You've entered into your element, the home of origin, the home of intelligence and beauty, where relevant topics are discussed, where what you think counts, and where superior is the norm. You are listening to Perspectives with Ashley Berges.
You know what I'm craving? A little perspective. That's it. I'd like some fresh, clear, well-seasoned perspective. Can you suggest a good wine to go with that?
With, what, sir?
Perspective. Fresh out, I take it.
I am,
Very well. Since you're all out of perspective and no one else seems to have it in this bloody town, I'll make you a deal. You provide the food, I'll provide the perspective, which would go nicely with a bottle of Cheval Blanc, 1946.
Welcome back live to Perspectives, and I'm your host, Ashley Berges. You know, I'm thinking about what is up with our cell phones. What have we done? We have more phone numbers in our phones. We don't even use them. Why do we have them? And why is this? You know, we look back at our phones, and you open up your phone, and you see you have 1,600 numbers in there, 1,600 contacts. When was the last time you called all those contacts? When was the last time that you said, hey, what's up? How are you doing? What's going on? So why do we collect phone numbers? Why do we collect people in our lives? And why do we have such packed cell phones? Bill, how are you doing tonight?
I am doing wonderful, Ashley. How are you?
I'm doing good.
And, I got a hernia tonight, carrying in my cell phone. It's so packed. No, actually, I was telling you before the show, I'm not sure how much use I'm going to be to you tonight because I have just the exact opposite problem.
Well, actually, it's perfect because we're not all saying the same thing then.
Well, good. Yeah, so I can provide an opposite perspective.
See, you have a different perspective.
There you go.
Here we go. Wow, that's pretty novel. I like it. It's good. I like this. Keenan, how you doing?
I'm doing well. I'm here. On my way here, I was on my cell phone, and I took a science quiz, and I made a 100%. Of course, I made 100%.
It doesn't surprise me one bit.
Does he come to the studio every weekend and flaunt? Is he always flaunting? Is it always flaunting?
He's showing off, man.
Well, yeah. I made 100% on the science quiz. Well, it was all biological and earth sciences. I mean, it didn't get into like astrophysics.
This is Keenan beating his chest, to Tarzan.
Yeah. I am science man.
and this is why he goes out to bars and like women will give him numbers and stuff like that.
I was doing a little happy hour yesterday because I got off work and I had a busy day at work. I had to do all this stuff. Anyways, I get off. I'm doing a happy hour thing. And so I go to the bar and I pull out my laptop and I start editing photos for work.
Okay.
Right. And not very many people in there. Like, 4 people in my little watering hole that I like to go to. I'm not going to say the name of it, but it's my spot. So
spot. It's his shtick.
Yeah, he has a chair in the.
Yeah.
It's his chair.
Has his name on it.
Yes.
So okay, so there's this beautiful woman in there, right? So I sit like 2-3 bars down, and she's talking to a couple of people and everything like this. And so I'm on my laptop and I'm editing photos. I'm editing all these raw files and everything like that. And so like she says stuff to me like, "Hey, what are you doing?" I said, "Oh well, I'm editing photos and stuff for my job."
Okay.
So anyways, she's talking to me and everything. I'm like, yeah, this is what I do and everything. And so then I asked her, you know, because I really didn't want to get into this conversation. I said, I'm like, well, what do you do? She says, I'm a stripper. Okay. But no, check this out.
It doesn't surprise me one bit.
But no, check this out. She's talking about this guy, okay? This guy that she's, maybe they're together, fooling around. I don't know, right? But then she says to me, well, why do I have this problem? Here's the thing. This woman is like in her late 20s, early 30s, right? So I could have said, well, you're looking for love in all the wrong places. Because think about it. We spend most of our time at work.
That's
so
true.
I didn't say that, you know.
That's
but,
true.
Yeah, but we were talking and everything, and so she was about to leave, and then she asked me, do you want my number? I said no.
Oh, he did the right thing, though.
He did do the right thing. Because, I mean, well, for one thing, you'd probably lose it in your phone. I've seen your phone list.
Okay, so Keenan, you're kind of like me with these numbers, right? We just have a lot of them.
Yeah, I have a lot of phone numbers, like people who I don't call. I mean, like I still got some of my old military buddies that lived out in California with me on my phone.
That's cool.
But I have to say, actually, I'm proud of him because, quite frankly, not a lot of, especially single guys out there, would resist a exotic dancer offering her phone number.
Well, the thing is, I'm like, her story was like crazy, and like she was telling me, she's like, oh, well, you're a nice guy, you're too nice, you know, and she was telling me, oh, well, women like to play games, and I looked at her and I said, look, if you know what kind of life that I had, I don't play games unless it's on a video game console.
Right.
Okay, that's the only time I play games. Okay, but she was telling me that, you know, you're too nice and everything like that, and I was like, well, no, I'm not too nice. It's just that you're just too messed up.
Right. So
yeah, you don't know who I am, by the way. But also, you're like, I just want to get back to work. I brought my computer in here. I'm not trying to use this as some sort of wedding ring. I mean, I'm not trying to get you here. I just want to do my work, and please take your messed up life elsewhere. No, I understand what you're saying, but people have a tendency of making calls. And we've talked about this in past shows about how people are always looking for the wrong thing sometimes because they haven't dealt with their past.
Right.
They haven't dealt with the past. They're not happy with their present, and so they constantly finding other things to do, as well as they get bored. And they're like, oh, this is cool. Look at this. This is nice and shiny. I'm interested. It's like, it's like a cat playing with a string. I mean, it's very cool. It's very interesting. It's very, nice, So let's talk about this, Keenan. You didn't take her number. Now, most people listening tonight would have taken the number.
Yep.
Now, there's a percentage of the people that would have actually called. There's another percentage of people that would have drank too much to remember that they got a number. And there's other people that would eventually call her by accident thinking she's somebody else and confusing it all together. Okay? And Bill, you would have probably thrown it away eventually.
Well, yeah, I mean...
well, maybe not...
I probably would have thrown it away. I also know people who had every intention of calling her, but then wussed out.
Okay, that's important. That's
yes.
Cool. So actually, the other day I was thinking, and this was like one of those weekends, and it wasn't just one of those weekends. It was actually Labor Day. It was on Labor Day, and I was thinking, I was like, I need to clean out my phone, and I looked at that, and it was like 1,650 numbers.
Oh.
And I'm like, wow, where do I start? So I started in the A's, right? So I started A, the first
beginning.
A.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh. So I called that person. Hey, what's going on? Hey, how you doing? We talked. Call the next day. After like 20 A's, I'm like, this is going to take forever. It's going to take forever. So that's when I went through the voicemail, and I decided to go through the voicemail and see who you haven't called back and actually return a call. Okay, so that's when I started doing that. The first person I call, answers the phone and is like, hey, and I'm like, what's going on? They're like, man, I go, we haven't talked in like a year. How you been? And he's like, I'm great. He goes, what made you call me right now? And I was like, because I realized we still had unfinished business and we never talked. And he's like, I'm going to be in Austin in like a week for my birthday. And I've only seen him at a conference in Sedona. And he's like, I can't wait to see you. I was like, no way. So out of the blue, already, one in the bag. I mean, that's awesome. And I realize you have to just reach out sometimes.
Ashley, I mean, this stuff only happens to you. I mean, you're just in tune with the universe. And you knew somehow, subconsciously, that this guy was going to be in your general neighborhood, and something told you to reach out to him.
I guess you're right.
It only happens to her.
I guess you're right. I mean, it was kind of interesting because I was like, where in and they're like, Austin. And I was like, oh, and there's like a Willie Nelson's Ranch. That's where my parents live. I was like, no way.
Oh.
And I was like, well, and at first I kind of was like, well, you should come up to Dallas. But then I was like, maybe I'll just come down to Willie Nelson's Ranch and check it out. Maybe that might be worth it, But think about it. Like, if I wouldn't have sat there and cleaned out my voicemail, that would have left there forever.
Right.
And we all have those unfinished business that we don't take care of. And I think a lot of times we're clinging to it, or we don't want to deal with it. We don't want to deal with it.
Yeah, either that or we just don't think about it, because I know I have a bunch of phone numbers in my cell phone, and I don't look at them at all, And the thing is, like, for me, unless we're friends on Facebook, I'm probably not going to remember that person's name,
Yeah.
First of all, and like, for example, I like to put like first and last names in my phone. And if I only have a first name, it's like, I don't.
Wasn't that big of a deal to begin with?
Yeah, it wasn't. Yeah. It wasn't really that big of a deal.
So if you had like 25 Ginnies, it might be a problem.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, like, how many Ashleys do I have on my phone?
Probably a lot.
Yeah, I think I do have a lot of Ashleys in my phone.
I don't know hardly any Ashleys. That's what's so funny. I used to know a lot of Ashleys in like college. I don't know any Ashleys. I almost lived with an Ashley. I almost moved in college with another Ashley, and then another Ashley wanted to take the third bedroom, and it was going to be Ashley, Ashley, and Ashley. And I just thought that was going to be just difficult.
Like a law firm.
I have another
Ashley,
Keenan
Ashley
in my phone.
You have another Keenan?
Yeah, my phone. Yeah.
Really, you're the only Keenan I've never known.
Well, no, yes, this white guy. His name's Keenan, and like we met at a bar. He's like, "Oh, your name's Keenan." I'm like, "Yeah." Well, my name's Keenan too. We should hang out. Hey, what's your number?
We're name buddies.
Yeah, we're name buddies, and I never called this dude.
Come on, you're my name buddy,
from
dude.
Another mother. Come on, man.
I never called this guy.
Dude, he was the white Keenan. Why? You could have walked around and hung out.
Well, no. Well, there was another guy at the radio station that I used to work at, named Keenan, right? And he's like, "Oh yeah," and he was a white Keenan. He's like, "Oh yeah, my name's Keenan too." And I'm like, "Okay, well, this was back when I had my own show and everything." And I'm like, "Okay, well, I gotta get to work. I'm like writing stuff, And so I had my laptop out and I had my podcast out, and he saw that I listened to the Nerdist. He's like, "Dude, I listen to the Nerdist too. My name's Keenan and everything. We're both, listen to Nerdist, Keenan and everything like that. So, let's exchange numbers." I'm like, "Okay, yeah, dude, later." But I don't think that ever happened.
Right.
So another white Keenan gone again. I think there's just something you have.
There's a pattern.
Yeah, I think he only wants to be the only Keenan.
I think so too.
I think there has something to do with that. So when we return, we're going to talk about why do we cling, initially really to the past, because holding on to these numbers is clinging to the past, as well as why do we allow unfinished business to stay there, especially in our own cell phone. So stay tuned, because when we return, Perspectives will be discussing more about how to get some of those numbers out of your phone. Perspectives with Ashley Berges be back in 2 shakes.
Turn it up and jump in the deep end on Perspectives with Ashley Berges. The water's warm and there's a swim-up bar. Glass of perspective, anyone? Now, here's Ashley.
Welcome back live to Perspectives, and I'm your host, Ashley Berges. And on tonight's Perspectives, we're discussing your cell phone. What have we been doing with the cell phone? When it becomes like collection of friends, collection of numbers, old acquaintances, what are we holding on to? Why do we hold on to all these numbers in our cell phone? What are we missing? It seems to me that a lot of times we cling on to the past because it gives us some sort of direction, or we have some sort of validity, or we feel better about ourselves, or at least we look back and go, well, at least I got 1,600 friends I could call if I needed to. But I think a lot of times we hold on to this because we hold on to the past. And I think also a lot of times things have changed. And let's get into something else, because I want to kind of take a little off the path, but then it's going to bring us back to the path. Lately with social media, you have like Facebook, you have Twitter, and you have all this stuff, but especially with Facebook, you have like those 15 people that you see all the time. You see their comments, you see what's on their timeline. It's constantly there in your head. It's kind of the same as the cell phone, right? You have those texts that you get from the same people over and over again, and you start forgetting that anybody but those 15 people exist in your life. You start thinking, okay, these are my friends. These are my go-to friends, and this is all I have. And all of a sudden, when you open up the phone and you go, oh my God, I got 1,600 numbers here, and I'm over here calling Susie and John all the time. I mean, what the hell is wrong with me? I mean, you don't even think you have other people. And I think that social media has made it where we have like these blinders on to realizing how vast maybe our friends are.
Well, my response to that, Ashley, is I just, only those 15 friends, that's the only friends I have on my Facebook.
But yours is for different. Yours is for private. You don't share it with everybody. I mean, mine's work more.
Well, yeah, yours actually has a business purpose. I can understand that. And I was listening to you and Keenan talking in the first segment, and my response or my way of dealing with that kind of thing is, I guess, to be passive aggressive about it. I just don't have a large circle of friends or acquaintances. So I don't get people's phone numbers. I avoid the issue entirely. I deal with it by not dealing with it.
Well, you're more like introverted.
I'm more introverted. I guard my privacy, but also I think, quite frankly, I'm too lazy.
Okay, well, I buy
to
that.
worry about having to juggle a big circle of friends.
I think most people have actually, when you actually look at the sick sad reality of it, is that most people do have a small group of friends. But the thing is, though, we collect all these numbers honestly just to be polite. So not to cause conflict.
Keenan, I'm glad you said that. See, because here's the thing. We have guests, every now and then on this show, and invariably they will always send a friend request on Facebook to me, and I never accept them. I'm not trying to be rude, so I hope they're not mad at me. So if any of our past guests
Bill
are
is just hardcore, guys. So just understand that.
It's so I'm not trying to be rude. It's just that I really do use my Facebook just for
family and
close friends, family, stuff like that. So
you use it for what it was really intended for,
right.
really honestly. I mean, and I get that, and I see where you're saying. I mean, I see what Keenan's saying too. I think a lot of times though, in the heat or the emotion or the fun of the moment when you meet somebody, and you find commonality, because I think it really shows us that we all have commonality with almost everybody. No matter where they are or what they're doing in their life, we all have this common ground with them. And there's a time when you see that common ground, and that's the time when you go, oh, yeah, give me your number, I'll give you mine. Okay, yeah, put my number in. Okay, yeah, that's my number. Okay, yeah, cool. Okay, send me a picture so when it comes up, it's my picture. And, okay, this is great. And at the time, you're just so happy about it. You're like, dude, I scored a cool friend. And then, like, a lot of times you'll put the effort into it, and you'll email them, text them, whatever, and be like, hey, can we get together? And what happens is usually someone drops the ball, right? Someone makes sure it doesn't happen. And it's either their subconscious or their insecurities because they feel like it's not going to work out anyway, or they don't feel that same emotional drive that they had back when they got your number because you're not there, and they just kind of drop the ball. And that's what I think most of these numbers end up in, like the I don't call phone, because you've reached out, and then all of a sudden, like, you forget about it. And 2 weeks later, human life continues to go on. Keenan's still doing science tests. He's still making hundreds on them. Bill's still saying no to friend requests, and eventually you get to that point where you forget about it. It's not until you start going through your phone that you go, oh my god, I remember meeting that person, and I remembered how cool it was when we first met. But that kind of fizzled out pretty quick.
Well, here's the thing with me. I meet people at the same place, because like I said,
because you can only go to a small amount of places.
Yeah, exactly. I go to a small amount of places.
Yeah.
So, I'll meet a person, and, like, a lot of times I won't even ask for that person's number, but they'll be like, hey, let's exchange numbers. And I won't call that person at all, but I'll just end up running into them, and we'll sit out in the back patio.
See, with me, I mean, I don't have that problem. I mean, I'm not the type of, outgoing person like you are where people will just offer me, their numbers. I'm very content with, like you, going to a small amount of places and just running into somebody. Hey, Joe, hey, Bobby, and, good to see you. Hey, how are things going? Oh, pretty good. How about you? Just, kind of making small talk, acquaintance talk. And
you don't ever get to the next layer.
Yeah, I mean, I'm perfectly okay with that.
No, I don't.
So you're cool with staying on one layer.
Yes.
See, that's the thing, is that some people are very cool with it. And I know a lot of people that are very stick to themselves kind of thing. And that's the way their life is. Right? But that's just the opposite of me, because you know me. I mean, that's why I'm a therapist. That's why I'm a life coach. I'm going to get out of you everything without me trying.
You're the social butterfly here.
Without me trying, you're going to tell me all the problems and issues you have in your life. And you're going to, which is no big deal because I can help out. And then you're going to also tell me what's not working in your life. And you're going to tell me something else as well. And that's in 6 minutes, maybe. And at that point in time, everybody around me is like, so who's your new best friend? I'm one of those people that gets off the plane that didn't know anybody, that was sitting with the screaming children, where I finally had to look at one of the husbands and say, I will switch seats with this person, and I do, and the next thing you know, she and I walk off the plane together laughing, and I'm having dinner with her that night. That's just the way it is, but I also get to, I guess I'm a people person. I like and I'm interested in the way that people work, like their whole.
Well, that's why you're a
making.
therapist.
Yeah, I guess you're right. That's why. Otherwise, I wouldn't be. If I didn't want to hear about it, I sure the heck wouldn't be a therapist. Okay, because you cannot get away from it.
Right.
There's no way. I mean, if I was in medical management, that's different, because I would just be saying, hey, how's the medicine? Is it working? Are you good with it? Is it, you have any sort of nightmares or any sort of dry mouth or heaving or anything like that? But other than that, it wouldn't be that big of a deal. And when they would go into their problems, I'd be like, okay, I'm sure you're going to go see your psychologist tomorrow. So good luck with that. And that's just going to pay the bill. You know what I mean? I mean,
Yes.
seriously.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm just the exact opposite. I don't want to expend the energy.
You just don't want to you don't want to give the energy out.
Yeah, I mean,
it is a lot of energy. I see what Bill is saying. I mean, it is a lot of energy because the thing is like, you call this person, you got to make plans, and the thing is though, you're trying to say accommodate their schedule, right?
Right.
Yet that person may not want to accommodate your schedule.
Right.
So there is no meeting in the middle. So
you might as well just remain acquaintances. And,
yeah, you might as well.
And here's the thing, Keenan, about the social media effect on all this. Most of the people we call friends, quote unquote friends, are actually acquaintances.
Yeah.
My and of course, Ashley, my definition of friendship. Right, an acquaintance, a friend will bail you out of jail, but a true friend will be in the jail cell with you.
Oh, yes.
And
we still haven't heard that whole story. I'm still wondering about everything. I just know there was Mexico, and there was some issues, and there was some federal.
And there was alcohol involved.
We never heard the entire story, though, Bill. But no, I mean, I agree with you, and I understand. And at the same point, though, I think a lot of times we feel overwhelmed. I think at the time when we meet somebody, it seems, it's convenient, it's serendipitous, it's right there. I mean, it's right here. It's not that hard. But I think then later on when you're trying to communicate and you're trying to make it happen, and I kind of go into these situations with, if the timing's great, the timing's great. If somebody else drops the ball, I don't want to be the one that drops the ball. I want to be the one that could sit there and say, hey, I did everything I could to make that happen. And usually after that, I don't erase the number, but I kind of let it go. And I think at this point, I think really that's something I need to work on, is if I have done everything I can to not drop the ball 4 or 5 times, I think at that point in time, maybe you take the number out, you might put it somewhere else, and you let it go.
Yeah.
I mean, but also that person could be going through a rough time in their life, and also it might not be the right time to spend time with them. You could be really great friends, or actually really help each other, or mentor each other, or something, or have a project together, or change the world together, but it's just not the right time. And if you were to hang out right when you wanted to, maybe you would have lost respect for that person. Maybe you would have thought they were a little kooky, a little crazy, or kind of stressed out or depressed or whatever, and so that happens too. Sometimes you come out of the blue,
so sometimes, or actually a lot of times, you only see what the other person showed you, what they choose to show you.
Right.
So it's like the Wizard of Oz. You want to peek behind the curtain.
Yeah. I mean, exactly. I mean, like when it comes to collecting numbers or even Facebook friends, because I think one of the reasons why we have so many phone numbers in our cell phones is actually because of technology. I mean, because with technology, it's so easy.
Ashley, can we talk more about that after the break? Because he's got a good idea there.
Oh, okay, yes, we are on. You're in it. We'll talk about technology when we return. We'll talk about how technology allows us to be more cluttered, as well as, the concept of why we hold on to these numbers, and how to really begin to unclutter your life. So stay tuned, because Perspectives with your host, me, Ashley Berges, will be back in, guess what, we'll be back in 2 shakes.
This is Jake Busey, and you're listening to Perspectives with Ashley Berges on 570 KLIF.
This is how you see things. This is amazing.
It's a gigantic pain in the ass, but it has its moments.
Wait, this game doesn't happen till October.
Well, it's always October and November and March. So many futures, and they're all real. Just don't know which one will coalesce. Until then, they're all happening. Like this one, it's my favorite moment in human history.
Welcome back live to Perspectives, and I'm your host, Ashley Berges. And on tonight's show, we've been exploring the clutter and the cell phones and the collection of people and the collection of numbers that we tend to have in our phones. And right before the break, I think that Keenan brought up a good point about technology, and you were about to go into it, about the concept about how it's so easy to get someone's number. So think about everybody listening tonight. Think about this. Remember back in the day when you'd have to write down the number, or you'd have to transcribe it from a business card, right? Or you would have to write it into something, or you write it into a book, like the whole day planner or whatever, and it meant something. You actually transferred it over there, you added it. Now you don't have to do that at all.
No, you don't. I mean, the way people exchange numbers now is they say, hey, what is your number? You recite it off to them, and as you're reciting it, they're dialing your number. and then they'll hit send immediately, and boom, you have their number. And
or on the text, right? You'll send them a text message.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Or a text stating,
Yeah.
hey, this is Lori. Wow.
Those are the easier ones. But you know what, Bill, if we just did the number bump where they call in and they hang up real quick because they're standing right next to you, oh, yeah, I got it. And, you'd forget their name. Like, you would leave and be like, and all of a sudden you'll get a text from somebody randomly, and you'll be like who is that?
I've actually done that.
Have
I've done that. It's like, I'm sorry, who is this?
Well, you're one of those, I'm sorry, who is this?
Yes.
Oh, no.
I'm that person.
Well, it depends on gender, though. Sex and gender, because the thing is, male to male, they might, forget, or female to female, it might just be a quick little thing. But if it's female to male, like when you recite your number to a female, they'll dial it, send a text with their name saying, hey, this is, Lori. That's the thing. Because the thing is,
because she wants you to remember
her name. I mean, you.
Hey, what's up, dollface? How you doing, sweetie? What's up, sexy?
Yeah,
It's just me. How you doing? I just want to say hi.
That's funny.
Glad we met the other night over at the, I don't know, whatever. But people do that all the time. They forget names, or I'm not a big fan of knowing someone for a long time, and you text them, and they go, who's this? I don't like that response. Who's this? Like, it's not who's this with a smiley face.
Right.
Because who's this with a smiley face? It's okay. Or my phone broke, or I dropped it in the washing machine, or it washed with my clothes, or it fell in the pool. Something that says that I don't have your number anymore, and it's okay. It's not that I'm just being an ass. You know what I mean? And then you're like, I don't even want to tell you. If you don't know who I am, I'm not going to say. And I like it when I put in Ashley, and somebody responds back with Ashley who. You know what happens on that situation? Erase. Done. You're out of the Rolodex. No mas, por favor.
Well, there are a lot of Ashleys running around.
I don't care.
but she is the Ashley. Okay.
In my world, I mean, I do have Ashley friends, but everybody calls me Berges. So back in the day when there would be other Ashleys, everybody would call me Ashley 1. Ashley 1, right? And so I was always Ashley 1. But then some people got sick of being called Ashley 2 because they thought that kind of sounded like number 2. Like, they thought that was odd. Like, they thought there was some sort of bodily function behind that, right? So then that's when everybody decided that now Ashley is now Berges. Okay, Berges, what's up? And then everybody else was Ashley or Ashley 1, whatever. So I was Berges.
Or Ash. I've heard people call you Ash.
Ash, yeah. I mean, Ash. What's up, Ash? What's up, Ash? Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. That was kind of cool. Yeah, but I like Berges. I like Ash. But that's the thing. It's like, I'm not a big fan of that kind of thing. And that's when it also scares me when it kind of comes to all this recollection where you text someone and you go, how long has it really been since I've talked to him? And how deep is our relationship?
And I guess I'd be the one to just really, pee you off, Ashley, because not only do I send back a text saying, who is this? But I do it with an attitude. I'm like, who the hell is this texting me out of the blue?
Question mark.
Why are you bothering me? Who is this, and why are you bothering me?
Sad face and anger.
Yeah,
See, the ironic thing about me is that I don't like to talk on the phone.
Oh, I know that.
Neither do I.
I don't like to.
I've called you before. You've answered.
I have?
Yes, you have.
Well, but the conversation didn't last 5 minutes.
Well, it didn't need to.
Yeah.
Well, no, it was, information.
I could have called Keenan and be like, hey, Keenan, what's up? I just want to see what you use on your shampoo for your hair products. Yeah, how you been? Yeah, no, I wasn't like that. It was like, hey, what time? See you then. Okay, bye.
Yeah, exactly.
We didn't need any more information.
No, I don't need any more information than that. But other than that, I mean, I just don't like talking on the phone. Granted, I talk on the radio and I talk to people face to face. But, when I have my, hand up to my ear, that gets a little annoying.
Yeah,
It does. I mean, it gets a little annoying.
I don't like it because I think you get cancer that way. But I don't like it. It makes my brain hurt.
Well, it doesn't make my brain hurt because I don't do it that often, But then
probably out of self-preservation.
Yeah, I was going to say as often as you're on the phone, Ashley. But see, here's the thing. I've got a confession to make. I'm the same way as Keenan is. So, when we talk, and you and I talk.
You and I have had a long conversation.
Yeah, we've had long conversations. But I'll get to the point where I'm like, okay, Ashley, let's think about that, or I'll research that, and okay, I've got to go do this now, and I can tell that. I want to get off the phone with you, but you're not done with me yet.
No, I'm not done yet.
So you always find ways to get into, and I'm sitting there going, oh, Ashley,
I'm going to kill Ashley. We kill her. Oh my God! Yeah, no, what about those people too? Let's take a sidebar real quick because sidebars are so fun. What about the concept when you got somebody that called you that you really, really want to talk with, and they're really nice people, but you just know you look down at the message and the voicemail was 3 minutes and 30 seconds long.
Oh Lord!
And you look at this long voicemail and you go, my God, if this is any inclination of how long the phone call is going to be, this is a voicemail. Okay, so I got 3 minutes and 30 seconds on a voicemail. I mean, that's about 2 hours of talk time.
To me, that's an email. You need to send me an email.
Yeah, I mean,
that would be a
that is an
long email.
I mean, like for me, it depends on the person that does it because the thing is, I only know one person that I will have a 3-hour long conversation with on the phone. Only one person that I know of that I would
relative?
No, not a relative.
No.
No.
He admonishes all relatives, and
trust me,
he's not into it.
No.
And no Keenans either. No other Keenans. No white Keenans. No Asian Keenans.
No.
You know what? I know another Asian. His name is Keenan. Yeah, we frequent the same spot.
Yeah, but you don't call him though. But you say hi.
I don't even think I say hi to him.
I'm telling you, he wants to be the only Keenan, the only K-man on town.
That's his mission in life. He's going to eliminate all other Keenans in the world.
Keenan? No, I'm the only Keenan. So, yeah, okay, so who's the only person you can have a 2-hour conversation with now? I want to know.
My homegirl, my best friend, But the thing is, this was like happening whenever she was living in Chicago. So, we didn't get to hang out, but now she's like just working and I'm working also. So I haven't spoken to her in quite some time. But the thing is, if I speak to her today, it's like I haven't missed a beat.
Oh, I have a lot of friends like that.
I have some friends and family like that. Yeah,
it's great. It's great. The only thing I don't like about that on the flip flop is that sometimes people take advantage of that too much. So it's kind of nice to see them. It's kind of like the whole concept of the funeral deal, where it's like some people wait until it's bad when you see them, and it's like I know that we don't miss a beat, but it's like sometimes I'd like to see it because you are a friend. Sometimes I'd like to talk to you a little more than once every 6 months.
Yeah. I mean that would be nice, I mean, like we said, during the break, the reason why I don't call a lot of people is because they're not talking about breaking bread.
Yeah, we like to break bread,
and and so do I. Well, with me, if I only talk to somebody once every 6 months, then they're not worth going into my phone. That's just the way I look at it.
But usually it doesn't start that way. That's the thing. It usually doesn't start. You're fast and furious, or what I mean, and you're hanging out all the time, and then after that.
Yeah, and like when you've known someone for like well over 20 years, then no, you're not going to delete them from your phone. I mean, this is not going to happen.
Right. No, I know what you're talking about. Yeah, I mean, you can be like really close to somebody. Maybe you don't talk but once every blue moon, but.
I like, she can like go without calling me for like 3 months, but the thing is, on that third month, whenever, or on the fourth month, whenever she calls me, she's like, "Hey, we're barbecuing, we're trying to eat, dude."
And you're like, food.
Yeah, I'm like, food. Yeah, let's go.
That's how you get Keenan. That's the way you do it. You just like have a trail of food. It's remember the breadcrumb trail?
Yes.
That's what we'll do next time. We need to lead them somewhere. We'll have chickens. Chickens in the way. Chickens in the trail.
So it's like
the chicken trail.
He's like a food hoe. It's like feed him and he'll do whatever you want.
That's messed up. You know what? I see that though. I see it happening. Yeah, he puts lots of pictures of food up on Facebook, and he's one of those food people. So no, but it's true about the collection of the people, and I think though it has to be about the right time. But yeah, it's also on the other side. It's just about. It's about seeing that this, again, is part of the clutter. A lot of times we have a cluttered life because we don't see things maybe necessarily always clear. We see things maybe differently. And I think sometimes with the phone, it makes us feel better. Not in Bill's scenario because Bill doesn't care. But I mean, like, to the most part about having all these numbers and stuff. And also maybe you feel like maybe it'll come around. Maybe the right time will come. Maybe it's the right thing. And I'm not very good at being all for nothing. I mean, it's hard for me. Like, I see people all the time that are older. They have, like, their little phone books, and then they erase it. They erase the number and the name when the person dies. And it's like, that's so sad. But I would probably keep the number in there. That's just me. But anyway, when we return, we're going to talk more about how to basically declutter your phone, why you should do it, and what it's going to do for you. Stay tuned, because Perspectives with your host, me, Ashley Berges, will be back in 2 shakes.
I could lift you up. I can show you what you want to see and take you where you want to be.
Get in here and give us your perspective. We're listening. You're listening to Perspectives with Ashley Berges.
This is your last chance. After this, there is no turning back.
You take the blue pill. The story ends. You wake up in your bed and believe whatever you want to believe. You take the red pill. You stay in Wonderland. And I show you how deep the rabbit hole goes.
Welcome back live to Perspectives, and I'm your host, Ashley Berges. And on tonight's show, we have been exploring your cell phone. Yes, your cell phone. What's in your cell phone? How many numbers do you have? How many people do you actually collect in your life? And how many of these people do you actually call or communicate with? Most of y'all have way more numbers in your phone than you actually ever use. And a lot of those numbers you've even forgotten you have. If you actually went to the Rolodex on your phone and started with A's, you would be completely probably overwhelmed about all the numbers you have in your phone. So right before the break, Keenan was coming up with a point about the whole concept of timing and about how timing is everything. And Bill, you were addressing the fact about something that was going on in Amarillo, I think.
Yeah, of course, that's my hometown. It's the guy who broke me into the radio business. This is about 5.5 years ago. And I was affiliated with the local pro wrestling association at the time. He was there as part of the media to cover it.
Oh, yeah, I remember.
And so I met him, and we got to talking backstage and whatever, and I mentioned that, it was my goal to become a sports announcer. And, I worked for he worked for the local sports radio station, so here's my card, and, why don't we stay in contact and blah, blah, blah. So I don't hear from him. And I'm like, okay, it was one of those things. And I actually forgotten about it. 6 months later, calls me out of the blue and says, hey, look, we're looking for engineers. It'd be a good way for you to get your foot in the door. Are you interested?
Perfect. It was all about timing.
Yeah, it was all about timing. So
timing is everything.
Yes.
Timing in friendships, timing in relationships,
yes.
Timing in business, timing what time you leave the house is important. Everything about this is important. So think about that. There might be numbers in your phone that you're not using right now, but maybe it's the right time to reach out. Maybe it's right. Maybe it's been a while, but you got to check it out. And timing is everything. And I totally agree with that. I totally agree with that. And I think that's so important. So remember that. The second thing let's talk about is making room for the new. I think a lot of times we have all this stuff, just like we do in our whole life, but we don't make room for new things. And because we have so much of the clutter, we don't see the options maybe.
Yeah, your life is too crowded.
Yeah, it's too crowded. And some people would say, you've all heard that comment, oh, I already have enough friends. I mean, we've all heard people say that. Well, that's not true.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not true. I mean, and are they all there for you, or is it just a bunch of numbers in your phone? Because, I mean, if I rated all my friends by the numbers in my phone, and I had a party, and I texted all of them to be here, oh, my God. I mean, it would look like we're having a freaking parade down, the AA Center. I mean, people be going crazy. They'd be like, whoa, what, did the Mavericks win this time? I mean, I know it's not the time of year yet, but did they win something? Or is there some sort of free alcohol or something? What's going on?
Well, now,
it'd be insane.
Are you like Monica from Friends? Do you have, like OCD, you have like 11 levels of friends? You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah.
The seventh circle of hell. Now you mean 11? Friends. Yes, friends.
Yeah. It's like with her, it's like different categories of towels. Yours is different categories of friends. So.
Well, you know what? I do have different categories, but at the same time, it's all about timing as well. And sometimes it's like making a judgment call. And I think this is something that I reach out to all our listeners tonight to try to do is to reconnect. And I think you just start by reconnecting. You don't have to take it on like a lot, but, make some calls each day. Follow through. Maybe if you don't like to call, okay, maybe text and reach out and say, hey, it's so-and-so. In my case, Ashley. It's Ashley Berges. And I would say, hey, it's Ashley Berges. Want to say how, if they respond back, great. If they don't, maybe you kind of figure it out. I mean, because you're not putting them on the spot, but you're just seeing, are they still alive? Are they still okay? Is this even a good number anymore? Or does this belong to somebody else?
Yeah. I know. I think there was a person who I should have called a while back, but I never did because she wanted to hang out. And, because we met at my spot once again, and she wanted to hang out. And one day she was hanging out, and I texted her, and she said, "Where are you?" I said, "Well, I'm at my spot." So she comes to my spot.
She knows where the spot is.
Yeah, she knows where it is. That's where we met, at my spot. And so we're sitting out by the fireplace. It was when it was a little cold, and she says, "We could hang out, and someplace different if you want, But
that's hilarious.
Yeah, I'm like, no, she said that to me. But the thing is, it's like I'm in my comfort zone here. I like going to places to where I can just walk up to the bar and I don't have to say anything, and they know my drink, what brand of beer I drink, and it's already there.
So it's like Cheers.
It is. Cheers.
But they don't speak. It's the non-speaking Cheers.
But yeah. So it's like, yeah, you can call me, actually call me and talk to me.
This poor woman.
You don't have to text me or anything like that, But I never did. I still text her though, but I never called and talked to her because the timing though. The timing, this is back when I had the crap job. Back when I was making $19,000 a year. Really, how you gonna hang out with somebody when you make $19,000 a year?
You can cover your beers. That's about it.
Yeah, I'm like, that's about it. When
and it's hard to sit there and say, yeah, honey, you gotta pay your tax.
Yeah, I told her straight up, look, I make $19,000 a year. I don't have a car. I live in a bad neighborhood. This is my life.
And I'm the only Keenan in my life.
Yeah. And are you sure you want to be part of it?
Yeah, I'm like, this is my life, and I've been through some things and everything like that. Persevered, yeah. But this is my life, and but the thing is, she hangs out in Uptown. She drives a BMW.
She's an uptown girl.
But she wants to hang out with me, and I'm kind of like,
well, maybe this wasn't the right timing.
No, I was kind of like, no, because I've done the uptown thing before, and I've hung out with people that.
But it was all about timing, though.
Yeah, it was all about.
There could be a time when it's the right time. There might never be a time.
Yeah, there could be. There could be, but even though I'm making more, there's still some things I want to do. And for me, the timing to start reaching out and calling people, I don't think it's still correct. But then again, when will that time be? I have
You
no
will know
clue.
the time. You'll know the time. And that's really the way it is. You'll know the time. You'll know when it's the right time to reach out. Just like I did. It doesn't – everybody has that ability. Everybody has that ability to reach out. But also it's all within you. It might not be their right time, but functionally you feel it's your right time. And if it's not right timing for them, well, then, it isn't. But I think that there's one thing that we've been kind of beating around the bush all night, and this is something that's essentially important to everything, is that we already really have everyone that we already need in our life. We really do. And I know a lot of people don't realize that because we're always looking for other people. But you know what? A lot of times we don't do due diligence in our own backyard. And that due diligence might be in your phone. The numbers of the phone, the connections you have, the people in your life could be all you absolutely need to get as far as you need to get in life to do what you need to do. And it's like, I know that sometimes everybody's talking about they need this or they need that or they need this. And honestly, I think if we did a good assessment, even on social media as well, is that if somebody was looking for a job, I'm sure they could find a job in their Rolodex of people. I'm sure they could get an interview. I'm sure something would happen. And a lot of times we go outside of ourselves. And I know there was a guy that wrote a book about who you know or something like that. It's about who, not about what or something like that. And a lot of times we don't really take analyzation of the people we do know and what they can do and what we can do with them.
Ashley, maybe it's kind of like people want to accumulate quote-unquote friends like they accumulate materials, possessions. They always want the shiny new thing.
Yes.
And they get bored with their toys fast.
But also it makes them popular, too. Being more popular, you have more friends,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, well, if you keep count with, Facebook, for friends or whatever. But
is that real? And I
well,
get
it's
what
not.
you're saying.
And that's the thing. I think some people are just like that. They want that. They can't sit still. They want something new, and they have to have the shiny new thing in their lives all the time, or they get bored.
Are you holding on to the superfluous? Are you holding on to the superfluous instead of the real?
Right.
What's real in your life? Because sometimes we can hold on to these people as trophies. This is my friend. And I know a lot of people that in Hollywood, right? And so I know a lot of people that know friends of mine in Hollywood, and they actually talk about how they have these people's phone numbers in Hollywood. I go, when was the last time you called them? And I'll text them or call them or whatever, and they'll be like, oh, and I'm like, so what's the deal about having the number if you can't call?
Have your people call my people. Let's do lunch.
Yeah, it's like you should be able to call them and be like, F you, what the heck's going on? I haven't seen you in a while. You know what I mean? Let's talk. And I think that a lot of times we keep numbers, like you said, whether it's a hot chick, a beautiful woman, a guy that you think has it all together, a person that seems to be really wealthy and well off. And are you calling these people, or you just have that as kind of is that like your gang backup that nobody can see? Kind of your invisible support group that's not there?
I don't know. I know with me, I just tend to forget about them. I just do. I'll
like out of sight, out of mind.
Yeah, out of sight, out of mind. For example, if I I think I stopped calling people shortly after getting back from overseas, but mainly, like, I would call somebody, and they would call back, and I would call them, and they would call back, whatever. Mm-hmm. But what I noticed is that, people weren't really reaching out to me. They weren't initiating the conversation at all.
Oh, you felt like you were having to go out of your way.
Yeah, exactly. I have to go out of my way, and so after a while, I just said, forget about it.
I feel the same way, Keenan.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a family member in particular where if I don't initiate the conversation, even if it's just a text, say, hey, how you doing? I never hear from this person. And, in the past, this family member and I were pretty close. But over the past 10 years or so, it's been like, like he will never, even so much as text. And I think recently, just in the past year or so, I've just finally gotten to the point where I said, look, I mean, I don't expect it to be like a checkbook. One has to be equally paid with another. But let's see if he actually calls me for once.
I agree with that. And, I think also, though, a big deal is that you have to love what you're doing. If you want to reach out to the guy and talk to him, do it. It's about what's right. It's about what you want. It's not always about what other people do. Because if you really want to hear from him, you got to make the call. You got to do it. So we got great shows for you coming up. Just remember that, it's all about you. Uncluttering your life makes for a better life. And also realizing that a lot of times we have all we need. So check that phone out. Make the call. Text somebody. Reach out. Stay tuned. Great show, Keenan. Bill.
Thanks, Ashley. Appreciate you.
Yep, thanks.
Thanks.
I'm I'm hungry. Like, whenever my stomach is growling, I don't hear anything else.
Well, it's time, and the bell is ringing. So Perspectives with Ashley Berges will be back in 3 shakes.